Sorry, I put the wrong date on the scheduled broadcast. I put Saturday instead of Friday. That's what happens when you're working late night. But I apologize nevertheless. Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe. Tonight, the Carolina Panthers had their second preseason game where they took on the New England Patriots in Foxborough Stadium. And final score in this game was Carolina Panthers 10, New England Patriots 10. So we are now 1-1, preseason matchup, game number 2. Not the most exciting of ball games, I'll tell you that, right? You probably think the same thing. Not the most exciting preseason game. You didn't see your main competition since Baker Mayfield signed to this team was Baker and Sam. You didn't get a chance to see that matchup. Not only did you not get to see Baker and Sam, you didn't get to see a whole lot of number ones. You saw 2s and 3s, okay? So you kind of knew what you were going to get before this game started. And I'm going to go over some of the things for you from this game. First thing I want to talk about is because it seems like we're starting to get banged up. It seems like we're starting to get banged up quite a bit. We've had cornerbacks start to get banged up at one point. Then we had the receivers getting banged up. So I'm going to go over the latest people that were injured tonight in this game. And it was quite a list. Let me go ahead and say what's up to Ali, man. Always signing on, and I appreciate you very, very, very much. By the way, it's a chance for me to say, I tell you, every single day the Panthers play or have a practice, I am going to be committed to bringing you coverage of that practice or that game. So that's how I got mannered people. I work for you all. I mean it sincerely. Questions you have for players and coaches, let me know. Or questions for me, let me know. And help me get to 5,000 subscribers, please. We got about 2 more weeks before the regular season starts. I want to hit that 5,000 mark before the regular season. Helps me get players and coaches on the show. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this injury, all the injuries that we have for tonight. So early on, we had tackle Cam Irving. He got injured with an elbow. That was very early on in the game. He was the first injury that took place for the night. And then as the night took place, went on further, we had more injuries. We had safety Justin Burris. His ribs caused him not to return to the game tonight. We had defensive end Amari Barno, hamstring. He didn't return tonight. We had Spencer Brown, running back. He hurt his ankle. He didn't. He was questionable. Did not. That was 4 injuries so far tonight. And then last but not least, we had Matt Corral. I spelled his name incorrectly a few times on Twitter tonight. Sorry about that. Matt Corral went out of the game. Did not play that last possession or last, I think it might have been about 4 or 5 minutes of the game. He didn't get in. He had his foot hurt. He did not return. His foot has also been x-rayed. This time, the media does not know about the extent or the results of those x-rays. So as soon as we get that information, we'll be sure to pass it along. So let's go ahead and look at some of the stats from tonight's very exciting game, all right? Go ahead and start these quarterbacks. Sorry about this. Let me get this comment off the screen. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and look at these quarterbacks, of which neither one of these guys looked exceptionally sharp. PJ Walker, 8 of 15, just over 107 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So, my view on PJ Walker has been, I like the guy, I like the person. The football player isn't doing enough for me, though. I mean, I remember so many times last year when they were going through everything with the quarterbacks, when Sam went out and then PJ got his start, was that you could tell PJ knows what he needs to do better. He knows what's causing him not to do that good, but he's not able to get it corrected. And I'm not saying he's a bad person for it. It's just what's happening to the guy, right? He's just not able to overcome his nemesis of trying to go for the home run, trying to get something just a little extra that maybe he shouldn't try to get. And I saw that tonight. He had 2 interceptions when he came in. A lot of people said Matt Corral didn't look that good last game, and that we should have got the Commanders quarterback. I think it's Sam. I forget his last name. I want to say Hal. If I'm wrong, please be forgiving. But we should have took Sam. I'm like, hey, Matt is still definitely a rookie. Still definitely get his first snaps, but he's not going with some of the protection and some of the quality of line that PJ, Sam, and Baker had. And so tonight, when PJ came in the game late in that fourth quarter after Matt got hurt, first play, lose some yardage, or it might have been the sack. And they gave him, no safety, basically gave him the ball on the goal line. Next play, he gets sacked. Walker does, loses the ball, turns into 6 points for New England. And it's like, gosh, that's just like they're not having a chance when they're playing against some of the roster deeper down in the roster, not able to give the quarterback the protection that you want to see. Hold on 1 second. Had to mute my mic there. So anyway, PJ Walker, 8 of 15, 107, sacked 4 times. Just not too many opportunities. And then Matt Corral had some flashes, 9 of 15, 58 yards, and he had 1 sack for 5 yards. So slightly better completion percentage than PJ. He had some good moments. I know one of the passes that that Matt threw should have been caught. I mean, terribly should have been caught, was dropped. And then you saw him start to, in my opinion, try to reach a little bit, and certainly was under some pressure at points. So not the best showing from the offense. What's going on, Peter Angels or Angelus? I'm going to guess that's Angelus. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Donna, yeah, this game it wasn't that pretty. It just was not that pretty. Certainly with the Patriots and Panthers practicing a lot, some of those scrimmages that they had joint practices was over 2 hours. So they got a lot of stuff in this week. And though Coach Matt Rule would not speak after the game about who his quarterback is going to be, I think his plan was to get a lot of information about his players this week up in New England with the joint practices. And I think he has a pretty good idea. I think he has a pretty good idea. And we're going to start to see some things pretty early on this week start to show their heads about what's going to be what. Donna, you still heard it's preseason, but a loss is a loss. Yeah, Donna, please don't get too upset. This preseason loss was, all your favorite players could not have been in a uniform tonight. All those guys were just sitting on the sidelines. What's up, Chris Johnson? And yes, Choppy71 says here, Donna, all the backers played. I mean, that's kind of what you're going to get when you get in this kind of scenario. Let's go ahead and look at, none of our offense did too good. Let's look at the receivers. D. Wright, 1 reception, 32 yards. And that was, let me mind you, with all these yards, this was near the end of the game that he got that 32 yards. This wasn't like, this was like they were in prevent. But nevertheless, Keith Kirkwood, he had 2 catches out of 7. Giovanni Ritchie, Gio Ritchie, he had 1 catch, 21 yards. But it just, you can see it there on the screen. Not much going on. Lots of different people touched the ball, but a lot of people did not get balls too accurately thrown their way. Let's go ahead and go on to the rushing. And I'm sorry that I didn't properly crop this so you see my hands here on the edges. But nevertheless, our running game. Man, what is our run? So you still feel like this is a big deal for the Carolina Panthers this year, okay? Pretty good offensive line. That's what it seems like. Now, certainly there's going to be some growing pains, but pretty good looking offensive line. Improved play at quarterback with Sam not being our starter and Baker Mayfield being that guy. So you're like, okay, we're building some potential. You don't know how everything's going to go. But then if we don't have Christian McCaffrey, man, this rushing game just looks terrible. You got Chuba Hubbard averaging what, 3 yards to carry? Nothing better than that. Dante Foreman, less than 3 yards to carry. Brown with 3, just about 2. I mean, it just gets worse and worse as you go through there. And it didn't look much better against the Commanders. So as much as we talk about having other guys back there for Christian McCaffrey, and I know one thing that's happened here is we're keeping things a little vanilla. We're not showing everything, but you just see how different this team will be if we don't have Christian McCaffrey out there. Let's take a look at the defense. Sean Chandler led us with 5 tackles, 8 total. Keith Taylor Jr., 5 tackles total. Barnes with 5. My man Brandon Smith had a sack and a tackle for a loss, which is brings me to a good point. If you have not seen my interview with Brandon Smith, if you have not seen my interview with Coach Steve Wilkes, if you haven't seen my interview with Kate Mays, please, I ask for your subscription for a reason. There's good stuff out there, and I can do even more if you subscribe to the channel. So please consider doing so. But that's your those were your stats from tonight. Let's see. All right, let's remind her to be nice in the comments here. All right, be nice in the comments. We got a lot of people that are here that are longtime supporters, and you know we say how we feel, but we're nice here in the Charlotte Vibe YouTube channel. Let me keep on going through some of my notes from tonight's game as well. Coach Rulin talking with the, let me get you this. Let me go back to this. Where are we at? First screen. So PJ Walker, 8 of 5, 107 yards, 2 interceptions, 4 sacks. PJ Walker, man, sometimes I feel bad for these guys when they come up to the podium after a game. You know, sometimes you're in the media and you're sitting there and you don't always know who they're going to bring to you. And they bring you somebody and you're like, ooh, okay, PJ Walker's up here and I don't have anything to ask PJ. PJ's press conference tonight was very short. But again, I appreciate the guy, the man that PJ Walker is. You could tell, you know, he was asked about walking off the field and just kind of shaking his head and not looking too happy, you know, looking pretty upset about the situation. He just said, yeah, I'm a guy that just cannot, I'm paraphrasing this, I'm a guy that can't afford to make too many mistakes. And, I threw some interceptions tonight that looked pretty bad. And he knows that doesn't bode well for him. Matt Rule talked about the tight end position being one that he feels like there's not going to be a one guy that's just, Ian Thomas could be your starter, but you're not going to just dominate because you're the starter. He feels like they're going to have to go through and use all their tight ends a lot to get different looks and different kind of skill sets out of those tight ends. So he did reveal that tonight. Sorry for the little bit of a crackly voice. And let me see if there's any other comments here. Peter Angeles, this is a vibe, guys. Chill. You're right. What's up, Big Jordan? What's going on? And then I see the spam comments. Let me see if I can get that off of there real quick for you guys. Sorry about the spam comments, but it's late night, so I guess that's what happens. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Getting rid of this user here. There we go. And we got rid of the spam bot. Let's see here. Going back to another screen to look at you all's comments here. My boy Matt was up and down. What are your thoughts? So let me quickly look at my notes on Matt Corral really quickly here. Matt did come out pretty good. I don't know how many passes in a row Matt made. Let me see if I can find it out while we're on the video. But Matt Corral did start out pretty good. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know how to easily and quickly go through my notes to verify what I wanted to say. But Matt Corral came out pretty good. I definitely feel like he connected on his first 2 to 3. He had a really nice connection to, I forget which wide receiver, kind of going down the sideline. And then he had some nice scrambles. Let me see how many yards did he have. Yeah, he scrambled 3 times. Looks like only 6 yards on those scrambles, but the scrambles that he had were pretty good, and that there were times where he was actually not just running to prolong the play and to make something out of nothing, but he was also scrambling, getting out of the grasp of people and not, going all crazy and losing the ball and things like that. So that was pretty good by Matt Corral. Let me also give a shout out to Tay Hayes, who had the interception that he ran back against the Patriots. That was pretty good. I'm giving some mentions to Robinson, who got a lot of attention this week for his participation in some skirmishes. That guy's a hard hitter. He's a really, really physical player. And, I noticed his physicality tonight and had some really good hits tonight that I wanted to make sure that I pointed out. He actually ended up with 4 tackles and 1 pass deflection. Kenny Robinson did. And a few other notes that I got. There was another play where, if you watch it, I forget if it was like Panthers Confidential or something like that on the team's website, where they had Baker Mayfield mic'd up, and Baker and Matt have been chatting it up a lot, and seeming like they're buddies. I know in New England they were walking off the field and on the field quite a bit during the time up in New England. But he talked about how this one time Baker and Matt was talking, and he was talking about like getting your feet set in mechanics and saying, hey, you're a quarterback that got so much arm strength and skill, you don't always necessarily have to get your feet all the way back set to throw across your body. He said, so just go for it. And there was a play tonight where Matt was rolling what was to his right, and he didn't have to throw far to his left, but he definitely had to throw across his body. Nice spiral, nice zip on the ball. And, he looked pretty good doing it. So Matt Corral, in terms of his ability, seems to have quite a bit of it and just has to continue to get used to the game at the pro level. So that's why you'll see those ups and downs. He's probably still constantly thinking. Game probably is slowing down for him a little bit, but it's still much more complicated than what he had in Mississippi that he was dealing with. So, yeah, Matt Corral, to sum it up, you summed it up well. He had some ups and downs, but he was good to watch. Where do most of the bots come from? Somebody does that or what? So yeah, I thought that the bots, that all the spam messages were like a person. Somebody told me that it happens on popular videos. So hopefully that means I'm becoming more popular. Hopefully that means you guys are getting me closer to 5,000 videos. And yeah, so we'll try to put a moderator in on that. I know I've had some people volunteer to be moderators, and I may be handy enough now with all the controls to be able to dish that out to somebody. Let me see. Sorry, just want to make sure I keep my track. Yeah, Tay Hayes came in and took his spot. PJ Sanford, pack up your junk. Come on, Trill. Matt got hurt. Someone stepped on his ankle and he had x-rays. Yeah, I talked about that earlier today. That crossbody flash for me. Yeah, so you saw that, right? It was just, I mean, he just did it really, really clean, really, really well. Didn't have to jump extra in the air to, I'm sorry, getting all animated. Yeah, Matt Corral, he looks like he has all the tools, all the mechanics, and just got to see if if he's able to put it together. And looking good is one thing. I know the great Deion Sanders said you look good, you play good, but you still got to, you got to execute. And we've got to just give Matt Corral some time to execute, to learn this offense, to get more comfortable. And we'll see, we'll see for sure. Appreciate you, old boy. I'm going to stay on for just another minute, see if anybody else has any questions. So what is likely to happen, the Carolina Panthers are flying back to Charlotte right now as we speak. They're likely to have off on Saturday and probably get back at it on Sunday. So at the latest Monday. I haven't talked to team officials to confirm that, but that's my guess on how it's going to happen. So should they get back to it on Sunday, you can count on me to continue to bring you the action and report to you what has happened during those practices with the Carolina Panthers. You also got some cuts that are coming. They probably got, I think, 5 more guys that they need to get off the roster here in the next couple of days. I think the 24th, maybe. Could be wrong on that date, but I know it's this week that they're going to cut the roster down a few more. So, hey, appreciate everybody that watched. Appreciate everybody that tunes in, supports Charlotte Vibe. Hey, man of the people, I work for you guys. What you want to see, what you want to hear. I am an independent media. I had the ability to get those questions answered for you, and I will always do what I can to work hard for you. All right. Thank you so much for watching. It's Chris Jenkins for Charlotte Vibe. Thank you, Big Jordan, for subscribing to the channel.